A single touch, less than 2 seconds to dismantle a decade of technical certainty. Brooklyn, New York, 1986. Late afternoon in a boxing gym where men trained in systems with centuries of tradition prepare to witness something that will challenge everything they learned about balance, power, and control. The air carries specific tension, not of imminent violence, but of truth about to be demonstrated. Mike Tyson stands in the center of the ring, 19 years old, relaxed posture, hands below his waist. 3 meters from him, a national champion wrestler in classic defensive position, knees flexed, center of gravity low, decades of training compressed into a base he believes unshakable. 12 people observe in silence. No one imagines that the next breath will change everyone's understanding of what it means to master one's own body. The provocation still echoes in the space. "You can't break my center. All that speed don't move someone with real base." Words spoken loud, intentionally, before coaches and practitioners who already questioned whether Mike Tyson was legitimate fighter or just powerful brawler with raw talent. The challenge wasn't just technical, it was direct attack on the revolution Cus D'Amato had been building through Tyson for years. The idea that rigid combat systems operated on incomplete physical premises, that true mastery transcended boxing orthodoxy, that fluidity and adaptability were superior to cataloged techniques memorized from textbooks. Now, before qualified witnesses, in neutral territory where institutional credentials weigh more than conceptual innovation, he needs to prove that years of deconstruction and synthesis weren't theoretical fantasy. He needs to demonstrate absolute superiority without crossing the line into humiliation. He needs to win twice, technically and morally. The gym occupies a converted warehouse in Brownsville, Brooklyn, near the projects but not inside them. Exposed brick walls, high ceiling with metal beams, central ring 12 by 12 meters surrounded by side mirrors that multiply every movement. Traditional equipment at the edges, heavy bags, speed bags, wooden dummies for strike training. Smell of old sweat impregnated in the padding, mixed with odor of leather from worn gloves. 3 high windows on the west side let in orange late-afternoon light that cuts the space in diagonal strips, creating hard contrast between illuminated areas and deep shadows. There's no decoration, no motivational posters. The space exists only for function, to test body against technique, will against discipline, theory against physical reality. Late afternoon on Thursday, time when only the committed remain. There are no curious beginners or martial tourists. The 12 present are experienced fighters, assistant coaches, or active competitors, people who dedicated years to understanding combat physics through specific systems. 3 boxing coaches, all over 30, observe from the left side. 2 wrestlers talk low near the entrance, arms crossed, skeptical expressions. 4 traditional martial artists, karate and kung fu backgrounds, wide movements and low stances, position themselves near the mirrors, divided between ethnic loyalty to the Asian fighting methods and respect for what D'Amato built through Tyson. A 40-year-old coach, respected veteran, remains isolated in the right corner, observing everything with professional neutrality. The silence isn't reverence, but evaluation. Everyone came to judge. Social context weighs on every breath in the space. New York, 1986. Boxing has clear hierarchy, proven champions who earn titles through documented competition, contenders climbing through rankings, and prospects still unproven despite hype. Innovation is viewed as corruption of fundamentals, adaptation as ignorance disguised. Mike Tyson destabilizes this order by embodying Cus D'Amato's philosophy that traditional boxing contains structural inefficiencies, that peekaboo style with constant head movement and explosive power from unconventional angles can dismantle classical technique. For the established boxing community, he represents dual threat, challenges technical authority of conventional systems, and subverts the expected path. Should pay dues through years of losses and learning, not demolish opponents from day one. The wrestler who provoked him doesn't act alone. He channels collective discomfort of men who built identity on foundations that Tyson's style suggests are incomplete. This confrontation isn't personal, it's institutional. The wrestler is named Tommy Bennett, 29 years old, national champion in middleweight category for 2 consecutive years. Wide shoulders, low hips, hands that seem to have their own memory for grips and controls. Earned credentials under direct guidance of Olympic-level coach with lineage traceable to legendary programs. Competes monthly, teaches at 3 gyms, possesses documented curriculum that any athletic federation recognizes. When he enters the ring, he carries institutional legitimacy, Years of tournaments, official certifications, respect earned through channels the American combat community understands and validates. His posture isn't just physical, it's social. He represents established order-testing methodological outsider. Mike Tyson, by contrast, doesn't possess traditional path credentials, hasn't climbed through typical amateur rankings because D'Amato considered conventional progression inadequate, limitations that distort real effectiveness in favor of arbitrary scoring. Trains in Catskill facility, developed under system D'Amato calls scientific aggression, but which still faces skepticism from traditional boxing establishment. For orthodox practitioners present, he's untested against credentialed specialist with decade of training in balance control and takedown defense. Impressive speed, yes. Exceptional coordination? Certainly. But does this prove effectiveness against credentialed expert with decade of training in postural control and balance breaking? Suspicion permeates every look directed at him. The silent question everyone shares. Does he really believe he can move someone trained not to be moved? Minutes before the confrontation, Tommy demonstrated base to small group, assumed low defensive position, instructed two practitioners to push his chest simultaneously with full force. They tried. Tommy's body yielded 3 centimeters, but feet didn't slide. Leg muscles absorbed impact, redistributed force through hips connected to floor by decades of training in balance maintenance. He smiled. Real base don't break with push. Comment directed at Mike Tyson, who stretched legs on the other side of the ring, apparently indifferent. But 3 people noticed. When Tommy spoke, Mike Tyson paused for half a second, tilted head slightly, then continued stretching. Micro-expression that could mean irritation, curiosity, or calculation. Nobody knew how to interpret. Silence that followed carried weight of inevitability. Confrontation stopped being possibility and became destiny. Tommy walks to center of ring. Each step deliberate, weight distributed evenly, body in state of relaxed readiness, posture of someone who already faced 100 competitors and knows that precipitated confidence is first fatal error. He stops 4 meters from Mike Tyson, adjusts stance, bends knees until hips lower 8 centimeters, hands at chest height, palms facing inward, prepared to intercept movement or execute grip. Controlled breathing, 4 seconds inspiration, 6 exhalation, technique. He learned to maintain heart rate below 100 beats during combat. Eyes fixed on center of Tyson's chest, not on face. Olympic coach taught that body doesn't lie, but eyes do. Leg muscles carry specific tension, ready to explode in any direction but anchored in immediate present. 12 people form irregular semicircle maintaining 5 meters distance. Nobody speaks. Breaths synchronize involuntarily. Mike Tyson remains motionless for 3 complete seconds. Neutral posture, feet apart at shoulder width, knees imperceptibly flexed, arms at side of body, hands relaxed below waist. There's no visible tension in any upper muscle. Shoulders dropped naturally, neck aligned with spine, chin slightly tucked. Neutral facial expression. There's no challenge, contempt, or demonstration of intense focus. He seems to be waiting for a bus. This absence of theatricality is disturbing. Tommy expected to visualize preparation, reading of attack intention, some sign that he's being analyzed, but Mike Tyson simply exists in space, like chair or column. Then, almost imperceptible movement, weight transfer to left leg, hip rotation of 2 degrees clockwise, slow and complete exhalation lasting 6 seconds. His body doesn't prepare for action. His body becomes latent action. Subtle difference that only 3 people in space understand technically, but everyone feels viscerally. Mike Tyson closes distance. 2 fluid steps, weight sliding through metatarsals without audible impact on canvas, hips guiding movement while torso remains vertically stable. There's no visible acceleration. Body transits from immobility to displacement without detectable intermediate phase. Tommy adjusts posture automatically, lowers center of gravity 4 more centimeters, prepares reception. Distance reduces to 2 meters, then meter and half. Tyson's hands still relaxed, arms hanging. 1 meter. Tommy contracts core muscles, anchors feet on canvas through pressure distribution. He trained 10,000 times, 80 centimeters. Tyson's right hand rises, movement that seems casual, as if scratching own chest but changes direction in last third of trajectory. There's no punch, no visible push. Palm touches center of Tommy's sternum, 5 centimeters below clavicle. Light contact, exploratory. 0.2 seconds. Tommy processes contact. There's no perceptible force. pressure equivalent to leaning against wall. He maintains base, prepares counter movement, grip on Tyson's wrist, followed by rotation for lateral imbalance. But while right hand remains in contact, Mike Tyson shifts hips, not backward nor forward in straight line. Diagonal movement, 6 centimeters forward, 3 downward, 2 degrees clockwise rotation. Right shoulder drops simultaneously 1 centimeter, aligning arm, torso, hips, and legs in unified structure. Force doesn't come from arm, comes from floor, transmitted through perfect kinetic chain. The touch on Tommy's chest doesn't push, redirects. Center of gravity that was vertically aligned over wide base encounters force vector that attacks not body mass, but postural architecture. Tommy's body doesn't receive impact. Tommy's body discovers it was balanced on incorrect premise. Feet lose grip on canvas not because they slipped, but because neuromuscular system received contradictory information. You're falling correct. Arms open involuntarily, seeking balance in empty air. 4 steps backward, uncontrolled, weight on heels. He doesn't fall, but movement was completely involuntary. Tommy stops after 4th step, recovers partial balance, looks at own hands as if not recognizing nerve endings that control them. Expression isn't of pain, humiliation, or anger. It's pure technical confusion. Brain processing dissonance between intention and result. I ordered stay immobile, body retreated. Why? He looks at Mike Tyson, searching for explanation that could categorize within known combat taxonomy. Was it a grip? There was no contact on clothes. Was it a strike? There was no measurable impact. Was it wrestling technique he doesn't know? Impossible. Studied complete system for 15 years. Silence in ring lasts 6 complete seconds. Nobody moves. 12 pairs of eyes locked on Tommy, then on Mike Tyson, then again on Tommy, seeking understanding that doesn't arrive. Mike Tyson remains in same position for 2 seconds, then retreats half step, lowers hands completely until they rest at side of body, looks at Tommy, not with contempt, not with superiority, not with pity. Neutral observation, same way laboratory technician observes controlled experiment result. Hypothesis confirmed, data registered, protocol concluded. Then, he turns. Walks back to side of ring where he was stretching before confrontation. There's no verbal declaration, no gesture to witnesses, no verification of social recognition. He resumes left calf stretch exactly where he paused, as if last 30 seconds were necessary but uninteresting administrative interruption. This indifference to status, demonstrating absolute dominance and treating it as technical triviality, not social conquest, disturbs witnesses more than physical touch disturbed Tommy. 3 martial artists exchange glances among themselves. One of the wrestlers opens mouth, closes without emitting sound. The veteran coach in right corner crosses arms more tightly, tilts head, observes Mike Tyson with expression mixing deep reevaluation and reluctant recognition. 3 weeks later, 4 of those present seek Mike Tyson for private lessons. They don't request combat training. They request understanding of applied biomechanics and principles of force transfer through body structure. Tommy doesn't return to gym during this period, but 6 weeks after incident, he reappears. In private conversation with 2 practitioners, he admits, didn't understand technically what happened. Force came from place wrestling, don't teach to defend. It's not emotional reconciliation. It's inevitable technical recognition that emerges when ego finally allows brain to process empirical evidence. A boxing coach begins referencing Mike Tyson in his own classes, not as superior fighter, but as thinker who understands movement physics beyond technical taxonomy. Story circulates orally through combat community. Mike Tyson destabilized wrestling champion with 1 touch at center. Specificity preserves conceptual nature of demonstration. Decades later, when Mike Tyson becomes global cultural icon, this episode is cited by serious practitioners as evidence that his effectiveness was real before it was spectacular. The question remains, echoing beyond combat sports and reaching anyone who ever possessed absolute superiority over someone who publicly provoked them. What defines your humanity? Using all your power or just what's necessary? Winning a confrontation and winning over your own need to humiliate? Which victory is truly superior?